Greetings everyone and welcome back to my channel. So this is attempt number 4 at making this video. I'm going to put a sample of what happened last time with the sound. You're going to hear it now. Our lake park. It was beautiful there. Here is some footage. And in this video, I completely updated my sound recording capabilities by just turning a dome into a sound booth. There is a video and a link up there, and if you want, you could check that out. Now let's get started with this video. So in the last video, we left off at the end of the Third Dragon War, where Huma Dragonsbane was able to drive Takasis's forces back into the abyss. With the help of Hope, the love of his life, and a silver dragon, he was able to lance one of Takasis's 5 heads and force her to retreat into the abyss, taking all of her dragons with her. And now we're going to pick up with Istar. The Age of Might covers a period immediately following the end of the Third Dragon War throughout the Cataclysm, a period of about 1,000 years, give or take. Some call this era the Age of Istar, for Istar is truly the key to the events that occurred during this period. This era starts with Istar dominating the trade throughout the world, and Thoradin, the Dwarven nation that was lost to time, reopens their gates and drives out the occupying orcs of their land. Ishtar's proximity makes them a major supply chain. And in Thorbadin, the dwarves start creating the Tree of Life. The city is built inside a Stolastica, or whatever they're called. It is hanging above an under-mountain ocean, and within it the Hylar dwarves build their home. And outside the mountains, the hill dwarves create their own nation that they call Hilo, on the outlying foothills of Thorbadin. And in this time, the elves start to isolate themselves more and more from the outside world. The exiled orcs unite themselves to flush out the dwarves from Thoradin. The dwarves call upon the Solamnic aid to drive the orcs away. And on a more entertaining note, let's talk about the 77 years of war between the Ishtarian Empire and the Kender of Ballifor. Ishtar's strict trade standards rallied the Kenders of Ballifor, who mounted an aggressive trade war after years of military and legal action, much of which proved useless against the wily and riled Kender. Ishtar is defeated and signs the Kender tax, exempting the Kender from the standard. An important lesson is learned. Kender and taxes do not mix. And this is probably the first time that Ishtar lost a battle. And it's very, very funny that they lost it to the Kender. And here we have incident number 2 where Ishtar lost a battle. Ishtar's expansion threatened Sylvanesti naval merchants. Sea skirmishes lead to a blockade of Ishtar, which signed the Short Sea Scroll. And that's impressive that the elves were able to push them into signing that agreement. Orgs from the Kurolish mountain threaten trade routes. Thoradin, Ishtar, and the Knights of Solamnia drive them back. Thoradin also signs the Sword Sea Scroll agreement. At about 490 PC, the Solamnics become more and more dependent on Ishtar for trade, currency, and ideals. Barbarians in the Eastwild, resenting Ishtarian trade routes through their lands, raid caravans. Ishtar convinces Solamnia to attack the barbarians and to re-sign the Sword Sea Scroll. And in the year 460 pre-Cataclysm, there is peace throughout the land. Ishtar, the center of commerce, tax, and art, has become the dominant power in Ansalon. And for 200 years, they ruled supreme, forcing peace throughout the land and truly being the righteous leaders of the world. And in the year 280 pre-Cataclysm, claiming to be the moral center of the world, Ishtar installs the Kingpriest. Solamnia approves the effort and promotes good. The elven kingdom of Sylvanesti grows antagonistic toward Ishtar. From then on, portents of eventual downfall of Ishtar began appearing across the land, but they are ignored by most, including the Kingpriest himself. And between the years 260 and 212 pre-Cataclysm, the finest artists in the world are gathered to build a temple to the glory of Ishtar, not the glory of gods. And this is where the hubris of Ishtar starts really to take on. Ishtar represses the independence of anyone who disagrees with the Kingpriest politics and etiquettes. The elves, disgusted at the humans' arrogance, withdraw into the forest and close their borders. And at the year 118 pre-Cataclysm, the Kingpriest declares evil an affront for both God and mortals. Those guilty of offense on his list of evil acts face execution or the gladiatorial arena. Priests of Istar began losing their clerical magic because of this, becoming instead the Kingpriest enforcers and inquisitors. And in the year 94 pre-Cataclysm, the Kingpriest adds a clause to the proclamation of manifest virtue, stating that certain races are evil and must be either brought into the light, i.e. sold into slavery, or exterminated completely. Hunters work to eliminate these creatures, earning high bounties. The Minotaur kingdoms are conquered, and the Minotaurs forced into slavery as they had been nearly 3,000 years before. Between the years AD pre-Cataclysm and 20 pre-Cataclysm, Ishtar is now the center of religion. All aspects of life require the approval of the priesthood. The status of Ishtar's clergy rises, and the wizards are hunted as ungodly. Most priests have lost all magical ability, blaming the deities for their own loss. And in the year 41 PC, the true turning point occurs, where the Kingpriest, with his hubris, starts to plan his own ascension into godhood. If up until now magic was distrusted, and any mage wearing a black robe was killed on sight, here is the point where the Kingpriest really goes all out against the magic users. In the year 19 PC, afraid and jealous of the magic that he cannot understand, the Kingpriest urges the people of Krynn to lay siege to the towers of high sorcery. 2 towers are nearly overwhelmed. Rather, to lose their towers to ignorant masses, the wizards of high sorcery destroy 2 of the towers, the tower in Goodland and the tower in Daltagut, unleashing terrifying backlash of magical power. Fearful of the rampant magic that might arise if all 5 towers were destroyed, the Kingpriest grants the mages exile to the Tower of Wayward, the most isolated of the remaining towers, as this tower is the only one that is not in a main city. If they leave the remaining towers intact, the tower in Palantis and the tower in Ishtar, the orders of high sorcery reluctantly agree. The Kingpriest moves into the Tower of Ishtar, claiming it as his own and turning it into his own home. The tower in Palantis, however, is cursed by the black-robed wizard, Ranach, to remain closed until opened by the master of the past and the present. And you all know who that is. And if all that was bad, in the year 6 pre-Cataclysm, the Kingpriest really loses his mind. The Kingpriest asserts that evil thoughts equals to evil deeds. Priests use renegade mages to read people's mind, and whoever is caught having thoughts against Ishtar, the priesthood, or the gods of good, is immediately executed or sent to the gladiatorial arenas. And this is really insane. Kind of feels like where we are today, doesn't it? And in year 1 pre-Cataclysm, the Kingpriest tries to elevate himself to godhood above even the other gods. Wrathful, the deities send 13 signs to warn the doomed people, and throughout the year the signs start to intensify, from massive storms to the disappearance of all of the true clerics. 13 days prior to the Cataclysm, thousands of clerics disappeared. Only clerics of pure faith are taken. Those who had not remained true to the deities remain. Although clerics of all alignments disappear, many of those who followed the gods of balance and the gods of darkness have already been killed off by the Kingpriest's agent. Because when the Kingpriest was going after evil with a manifest evil, he started prosecuting the priests and the people that followed the evil gods like Takasis and Sargonas. And then when he finished all of them off, he started going after the Grey Clerics, the Clerics of Gilead, the clerics of the god of neutrality, and thus not a lot of them remained when this happened. And with the loss of clerical magic, many come to believe that the deities themselves have abandoned Krynn. And here's a story that we all love of a Death Knight that we all admire and fear. Lord Suth, the Knight of the Rose, is given a chance by the gods to redeem himself for the crimes that he committed. He is turned from his path, however, by the blandishment of servants of the Queen of Darkness, and he fails his quest. The Cataclysm strikes and Suth is cursed to become the Death Knight he is. And on the 13th day of Yule, the 3rd day of the new year, the sky burns, the fiery mountain is launched from the heavens at Ishtar. The impact drags the city of Ishtar to the depths of a newly formed blood sea and fragments the rest of the nation. Ergoth is torn from the mainland into 2 great islands. Waters pour into the central of Ansalon, forming a new sea and shrinking the plains. To the south, land rises and water recedes. The port city of Tarsus, unscathed by the devastation, it now lies miles from the sea. The waters envelop most of Balafor, and what remains is a desert waste, which the Kender abandon, and Thoradin becomes the Kar. And with that, my friends, we're going to end the Age of Might, the Age of Ishtar, where good and peace ruled the land. The next video, we're going to talk about the Age of Despair, where, oh my god, all hell broke loose. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Have a lovely day.